precisely what to do.
What's up, guys, and welcome to What in the Womanhood. I am your host, Dr. Zani Dinika, and today we have Tanatsa. You guys, I'm like starstruck, absolutely starstruck. So let me tell you a story. I've actually been following you.
Okay.
From I don't even know when.
Really?
Even way before wepamoyo.
Okay.
Way before. And when you came on to wepamoyo, I was like, I know her.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I was so excited. And I remember like one of my comments was, she's so natural. Like you're so natural on the camera. And I was like,
crazy
wow.
because it was my first time ever acting at all.
Really?
Like in my room.
Oh my goodness. And you were so natural. Like,
thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, I liked Noku, but then when you came in, I was like rooting for Irene. I was like, yes.
Wow. That's crazy.
Okay, Tanatsa, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you.
So today we are going to be talking about the 20s, the crazy years. I've been loving what you started, like the 20-something movement, the event. I think this is like your second time.
One, yeah.
How did that go?
The second one, it was good. I think you're just always trying to do better and compare yourself. So I have my own notes on how I would want to improve it, but I think it went pretty well.
Okay, so tell us about the event. Yeah.
Okay. I've just always been talking like with my friends, and we're always discussing about how hard it is to be in your 20s because you're kind of defining for yourself what you want to do with your life. And everyone is always asking, you see those aunts, it's just always, so what are you doing now? And things are not always going to plan. Like university sometimes takes longer than you wanted it to. Finding a job is harder, and you're juggling relationships and all kinds of things. And it feels like no one's giving you a break. Because I remember when I came back and I told one of my aunts, like, this was my final year. She's like, sakam kwa siya. So things like that just made me think how there's so many experiences within the 20s, but like there's the defining factors we're all trying to discover ourselves. So it would be nice to have a space where we can, relate to each other. And making friends in that space is difficult because you're not all going to be in the same space. It's not like when you're in high school or uni or working, you know where you're going to meet those people. But when you're 20, it's so abstract and it's hard to find, your people. So,
So you're in uni yourself, right?
Yes.
What are you studying?
Journalism and media and psychology.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it explains it.
Kind of.
Yeah. So let's talk about like navigating career, your career path in your 20s. How's that been for you? Did you always know that journalism, media, that's your thing?
No. When I was young, I wanted to be a singer. Like that's
you can sing? Okay,
one note. We're not
one
doing
note.
that.
One note.
I'm sorry, I can't do it on the spot. I wanted to be a singer. I was so adamant about it. Everyone knew that that's what I wanted to do with my life. And then somewhere along the line, I think it got harder. I didn't know how exactly to break into the industry. And I was watching Bonang and just seeing what she did. I didn't know that it was a career to speak and to, and to host and make content and things like that. So when I saw her doing it, that's when I started looking into it more and seeing, and it was really interesting to me. So especially when Instagram came along and I started making and taking pictures and realizing how much I like it, then I just kept going with it. But I wasn't thinking about money at the time. I was just, it was somewhere to put my passion. And then here we are.
I mean, that's the thing about social media. I think everything has its good and bad side anyway. So
exactly.
I think the good side is like a lot of young women have really come up with a way to actually make money on social media, which is amazing. I'm finding other men are actually doing it now.
They are, There should be more men. Yeah.
So, but how do you feel like social media now? We're talking about the pressures of your 20s.
Okay.
And then let's pair it with social media.
Right.
Like, I feel like probably like multiplies it like
Yeah.
tenfold.
Right. Okay. So there's two things that I've noticed. I feel like everyone has an expectation because they're just seeing a picture of you.
Yeah.
So they have their opinions of you. So one of the things was because I practically grew up on social media, that meant physically I was transitioning on social media. So as I'm discovering and trying to, embrace my body and, I used to be very slim and then I gained weight and no one would let you live it down. Every picture you post, and then if you lose weight, and then my skin breaks out. People are like, what's with the pimples? As if you don't know.
Yeah.
So it was always something. And at some point, you do start, getting caught up in those comments. You reply to some and, get consumed with what people are saying. But now I disregard it. If it gets too hectic, I just delete the comment. Because yeah.
Oh, social media can really...
It's really brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
I guess because people, they're not saying it to your face. They feel like they can just say whatever. No one's going to confront them.
Do you sometimes delete your social media? Like just...
No, I've never done that.
Yeah.
I always hear people say a detox and stuff, but no. I just feel like I've done more work to filter my social media, to follow people that I like. Like if I find, even if someone is amazing, if I feel like she makes me compare my body and makes me feel bad about it, it's not her fault. But for the meantime, I'll just unfollow until I'm at a place where I'm secure about, myself.
Yeah, I think same with me. I don't really like completely delete, but I can just go ghost.
Yeah, exactly.
Like completely.
Just set boundaries because it's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about independence in your 20s. It's such a thing, right?
It is
like
a thing.
A Miss Independence.
I think you want it until you have it, and now you're like, what do I do? How do I do? Independence. Okay. That one is tricky because I'm in my early 20s, so I'm still living with my mom.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to be like, there's still a curfew. You still have to ask for permission. But you somewhat make your own money.
Yeah.
So, like it's difficult. So I think it's just about communication and just being honest with yourself and taking your time to get to independence. I don't think you should wean yourself off. I think if you're blessed to have people who can, take care of you and help you out and people who can give you advice, I don't think you should be like, okay, I'm independent now, I'm leaving it all. I think it should be gradual, so that by the time you actually are on your own, you've, acquired everything that you need to be on your own.
With my mom, like she has this thing of saying, you can't have two adults in one home.
You can't.
Yeah,
you're
it's
always
like,
bumping
it's like having
heads.
two
Always
roosters.
bumping heads.
You're gonna be bumping heads
all the time.
Yeah, because I feel like you're getting that sense of independence.
Yes,
like I'm
and now I have my own opinions. And sometimes when she says we're not doing this, it's not yes, ma'am. It's why. Like why can't I do it? I need a reason to understand why you're saying no.
And I think like the concept of asking for permission.
Exactly, and it just doesn't make sense.
I kind of feel like you're also asking for permission on how you spend your own money, and So for me, I quickly realized that I need to get out of here.
I was actually saying that to someone yesterday, that you kind of learn to wean your parents off, because I feel like at some point they don't know how to live life without you. So now you have to start setting boundaries. So, okay, this one I'm going to do by myself. If I need your help, I'll let you know. And then,
funny thing about me, when I moved out, I moved out when I was 24. I was about to turn 25.
Okay.
Then I started staying with my friend.
Right.
Even if I did that, I could not go for a weekend.
Right.
Okay. I couldn't go for a sleepover. You haven't
said anything.
I can't just disappear.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, where are you?
Exactly.
Who are you with? I'm like, but I'm You've grown.
I'm grown. Why are you concerned? I'm not dying. If I was dying, I'd have called you.
Yeah, but I think, that's just the mixture of culture.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's true.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about friendships in your 20s.
Yeah.
I will talk about my experience, like friendships in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like somehow people just started shedding off.
They do.
Yeah, they just start shedding off. It's like, I don't know, like as you evolve, as you grow, like you get less and less friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know why that. Okay, I guess because you're establishing yourself, I feel like they fit less and less into the person that you are. I like, for example, the friends that you had in high school, some of them don't make it to uni because you're not the same person that you were then. Then when you get to uni, you're going to make new friends. So you're going to spend less time with the old friends.
Yeah.
Then when you finish uni, you're going to work. Maybe some of those friends weren't even from the country you're from. You have to start making friends again. Then you get into the workspace, you're finishing at like 5 every day. You don't know when you're going to meet the people you're supposed to meet. And half the time you're working with older people who are not trying to be your friends. So it's so difficult to then find a space where you meet people. And like, obviously people say, oh, you should go out and stuff. But I feel like when people go out, they're going out in their groups. So you're not going to make new friends necessarily unless you go to something wholesome or like, less loud and
And have you experienced that whole thing where some friends are getting married now? Others have kids.
My sister got married, and I feel like it changed the way everyone is looking at me. It's always, when are you next? When is the husband? Even in conversation, like I'll just be minding my business, and someone will say, "Oh, when Tana gets married," and I'm like, so yeah, I feel like it puts pressure. But I feel like we're also living in a different time. So I don't know. I don't have pressure on myself. Even if people say or ask, I don't feel the need to have a person until I'm ready,
Yeah. Do you know, like, there was a time when I felt like it was bridal shower after bridal shower.
Right? Everyone's having babies and
literally it felt like almost every weekend.
Right? There was something to attend.
And I was like, why are people getting married? Like, what's going on?
On Instagram, you just open and someone's engaged. And you're
exactly.
Like,
yes. Like, I feel like when I was around 25 or 26, it was, oh, she said yes. I said yes. And I
saw an engagement ring, I think, this morning even.
You see? And it's like the algorithm will be messing with you. Exactly. It's your friend. Exactly. So obviously you're going to click like.
And then they're going to keep showing you all these happy couples. And
But how do you do? Because obviously I feel like in your 20s, like romantic relationships are like a huge thing.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that? Or how has that been like for you? She's like,
It's been interesting, I'll tell you that much. I'm learning what I don't like. I think that's what it is. Maybe for the first half, I think you're dating to find out, who's for you and who's not, which is good. And everybody used to understand it because when I was young, I had the mentality that the person that I meet is going to be my boyfriend, then he's going to be my husband, and that's it. But then you meet someone who you think is the person that you want because they fit the picture that you wanted, but then it just doesn't, So I feel like just not dating necessarily like in a relationship, but just going on dates, talking to different, people and finding out, okay, I don't necessarily like that kind of personality or I don't get along with that kind of person. So I think it's about self-discovery. I know a lot of people in our 20s are very bitter.
Yeah.
Everyone's angry and distrusting. Like when you hear people talk about Jolo and everyone is so angry with each other, angry with the genders. So I feel like the relationships don't work out because everyone's resenting each other.
We're carrying past experiences.
And it shows up like when you have your first conflict, you're arguing in the moment, but the person's arguing based on the trauma that they experienced. And, so it's very difficult to find people who have the same intentions as you, because I feel like now people are like, okay, let's just do friends with benefits and set boundaries, those kinds of things, because committing sounds so scary.
Listen, you know, now that you're saying that, like I remember having that mentality. Like in my 20s, I think before 26,
right?
I was in a zone where I would say, I don't want to get married.
That's exactly where I am.
But I honestly feel like it's just the trauma speaking.
It is the trauma.
It's just the trauma.
When the wound is still fresh, you want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like it's necessary sometimes to just go
be on your own and just,
Tell me about like the deepest, hardest, most traumatizing breakup that you had. The most traumatizing.
The most traumatizing.
I hope he's not listening or watching, but anyway.
Probably is. The most traumatizing, I don't think I've had like I don't fight. Like I'm not a screamer or I don't yell or anything. So it wasn't intense in that way. I think it was just more so the disappointment and the stuff that I had invested in. I moved countries.
Wow.
So it was packing bags, going to stay with my aunt.
Yeah.
And she didn't know that we had broken up. So she would ask about him and I'd have to pretend that everything's still cool because I wasn't ready to tell her that things had happened.
Yeah.
And my mom came to see me and I was just a mess. Like it was just bad. I had gotten so slim. Like I wasn't eating. It was, it was crazy. I feel like that's when my skin was acting crazy as well.
Yeah.
So it was traumatic in that sense. And I feel like even if I saw him, I wouldn't be ready to speak or, I feel like, we should be friends. I don't know.
Friends?
That. That's what, you're supposed to get along with your ex and I can't
Why do you need to get along? I don't get
want
that.
to talk to you. I don't want us to see each other and be cool. I'm not cool with you.
I don't think that's necessary.
It's not necessary.
I mean, getting over it, sure.
Yeah.
But
I don't think we should have each other's numbers. I don't think you should ask me how I am. We're not in that space.
Yeah.
And it's weird to pretend that you weren't, that intimate before. It's just, no.
Yeah.
So,
I think for me, it was a person saying that he's going to marry me. And
don't they all say that?
And then, and then, you tell your family.
Right.
He tells his
family.
That's
the worst part.
Yeah, that's the worst part because you can't just forget about it.
You can't. Everyone, you have to keep updating every relative that comes in. You have to say, we're not together anymore.
And the way things ended was just rough. Man. It was just really rough.
It is, yeah.
And I think that the ghosting culture is just the worst.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But then I've done it before too. It just happens. Sometimes you don't know what to say to someone. And it's that in-between space where you're not dating the person, but you've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
But then you don't feel like you're that committed to each other to the point where you have to tell them like, look, I found someone or I'm not trying to be in that space with you. So you just keep quiet.
But the fascinating thing about it is I've spoken to quite a lot of ladies.
Right.
And it's as if every girl has had that guy who said, I'm going to come and marry you. Or,
of course.
And then they
just a strategy.
And then they don't show up, right?
That is crazy.
For me, it was a lesson. I just learned that, if a person is going to do something.
Actions.
They just do it.
Do it.
They just
all
do it.
All the guys who say, I was going to buy you those flowers. Where are they?
Just buy the flowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
All right. So the holidays are coming up. And you're going to go home and you're going to be with those aunties. And they're going to be asking you, how far Mkwasha today? What do you think about that?
I think those aunties traumatized my childhood. I think they're the reason for a lot of my insecurities. They're the reason for some of the things that I wasn't thinking about. Now you're thinking about them. I never used to think about my body until someone says, and you're now looking like, maybe. And then someone asks, when are you going to get into your first relationship? And now you walk out of there feeling like, I need to find someone. They do that with school. I always laugh with my sister. I laugh about it now, but at the time it really hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
So she's more science and, you know, that, and I'm artistic.
Yeah.
So, and it was hard for me to even embrace it because everyone just looks at you like, why would you choose that?
Yeah.
You know? So this lady came, she's not, and they're not, never like aunts, they were like friends of someone. And then, so she comes and she says to me, where's the smart one?
Ha.
And,
Ha.
and I was so shocked. I'm like, wait, so what am I? So yeah, things like that just made me feel so small and so insignificant, you know. And I feel like sometimes it was because they were threatened, or because then they would say certain comments like, come on, but like in a condescending way. It was never, you know, nice or So
looking back, do you think you would have, like, you know,
said anything?
Yeah.
No, because they're still older than me, so I'm not gonna like say anything crazy. But I definitely, if they're saying something like wild, I'll just correct them. You know, or if they say something like, there was a time when they'd comment like on my skin, what's happening to your skin? I'm like, it's my skin. That's just what it is now.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Or, but like, I'm more protective of my younger siblings. Yeah. So whenever they say, oh, and they, I'm like, that's her body. Yeah, that's what it is. First of all, she shouldn't even be thinking about what her body looks like. She's a child.
You know, one thing my mom always used to say to me is when these relatives say funny comments, just remind yourself that they're probably not intelligent enough to hold a conversation.
Exactly.
They don't know.
They bond over insecurity.
Exactly. Yeah. So just let it go. Keep it moving. I mean, of course, it's toxic.
It is toxic. And you're going to see them like once. Yes. And then you move on.
The holidays are going to be over soon. So guys, hold on tight.
You'll be fine.
Okay. So I like how you're passionate about empowering women. You know, I feel like you advocate for confidence and just like what we've been talking about having your boundaries and just knowing that you're running your own race, you know. And so tell me more about your event, because you know what, I'm kind of sulking because I was like, I'm not 20 something, but I want to be there. Like,
I have been thinking about that. I'm like, we could call it the 20 something and then just have, you know, everybody come in.
So tell me, like, how do you feel, or do you get feedback from the people who attend your event to tell you about how it's helped them to navigate their 20s?
They do. Sometimes, like, even when I don't ask, I feel like I'm gonna speak for the women that follow me. I feel like it's more of a sisterhood. It's, you know, it's just DMs about, you know, I'm thinking about acting, how do I get into it? Or, you know, I'm struggling with this. Sometimes people text me about their breakups. You know, he just broke up with me, I don't know what to do. And I think it comes from just being all open about the things that I'm going through or have gone through. So it makes people feel safe that even if I don't have the answer, I'll just say, oh, I'll look into it for you. So yeah, I feel like the 20-something is just, it's just a space for people to come and air their problems. And this recent one, I had my mom and another lady talk about, you know, their experience with being 20, just so they could see a perspective from someone older, like what it would look like and what they wish they had done differently. And, you know, since you're still in this space, how can you make your situation better?
You know, it's so interesting that our mothers still remember like their 20s. So it makes you remember when you were a teenager and you were trying to lie to your mom. She's probably looking at you like,
girl, I've been there, done that.
Been there, done that. Oh wow, so this has been so lovely, Tanatsa. So to just close this off, I want you to tell us, like, what piece of advice would you have for somebody who's listening right now? They're in their 20s and they just feel like life is lifing them, you know. Some people haven't even started university. Some people are in university, but they're not sure about what they're studying. Some people have finished studying, but they haven't even started working. Someone's going through a breakup. Somebody's about to get married to somebody she's not sure of. I don't know.
Okay,
but
that one, run.
Right?
If you're not sure, I don't think you should be walking down that
But then,
aisle.
like, what would be like the umbrella theme or advice you'd give to the 20s?
I forget the name of the judge, but she was talking. There was a woman who came in talking about how her boyfriend had been cheating and putting her through all this, and now they were in courts together. And she asked her how old she was, and I think she said like 24 or something. And the judge said, your 20s are your selfish years. I don't think you'll ever get a time again where you'll just be able to think about just yourself.
That's true.
So, but then that's also dependent, because I feel like there are people in their 20s who have responsibilities.
Yeah.
But I'd start off with, for those who have the privilege or, you know, other people to help them with their responsibilities, I would say abuse those those privileges. You know, like even small things like my mom being able to give me money for fuel. I'm going to utilize it until I have to start paying for my own fuel, because I'm never going to be able to do that again. So I would say whatever decision you're making, your future self is going to be wondering like, why did she do that? So I'd say for any decision that you make, think about whether your future self will be happy about that. So that includes the marriage. If you're not sure, don't do it.
Do not.
Even if you love him, communicate that you're not sure. You don't have to break up. You can keep dating until you feel like, okay, now I'm sure. Because sometimes it may not even be about him. You're just not in the space to be married. You know, even for a job, don't just take any job. You will traumatize yourself. If you have the option, take your time and find a place where you know you'll be able to grow, because it's a healthy space, because you're going there every single day. It will take a toll on you. For uni, it's just about time. I would say don't be idle. I took a 2-year gap after COVID. So that's when Wadiwa happened. So I would say just do things that, you know, your future self will thank you for, you know, small things that build your career. It'd be a time for self-discovery before you have to go for uni. If you're still looking for a job, same thing, you know, just find your interests, find things to sell, find people to shadow, intern, you know, just if you have free time, that's what I would call it. And find something to do.
I'm curious to know, how did you navigate that? Like taking a gap year?
Oh, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was so the first one I was excited because I was tired of school. So that one was cool, and then I had got into a relationship, so it was taking up a bit of my time. But then the second year I had been ready to go back to school because I'd been idle. So, but then I was told I couldn't go back again. That's when I was like, okay, I need to find something to do. And then, so yeah, you just start talking to people, asking. I think you just start asking yourself, like, what do I actually want to do with my life? Because sometimes you just go into uni, I'm going to study, but you don't think about it, like, what do I want to do? Even after this is over, what am I going to do with my life? So yeah, you just start thinking about it, like, okay, maybe I do want to try TV. Maybe I do want to try thing. And you find that maybe when you go back, you even want to change your degree. So I think it's just about trying, you know. Sometimes you're confused about what career path to take. And I feel like you won't know unless you do something and be like, okay, I don't like this too much, so I'm gonna try something else.
Just try it.
Yeah, so just try. Yeah.
I like how you sounding like you were very calm during that period.
Oh,
like...
yeah, I would cry. Like, what am I doing? I think life is just always confusing. I think the only thing is to just stop expecting. Just allow day at a time. Just let things happen the way they're supposed to happen. If you expect so much, you're gonna get disappointed so much. So I think just take it day by day. Expect enough to be like, okay, I'm hoping that this will happen, but allow room for an email that says we regret, you know.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is tough.
I know a lot of people who've done the applications with the rejections. And some people then say the rejection letter is even better than the response. Like,
you don't even
did you even get my application or not?
It's so terrible. It's so terrible.
Thank you so much for coming, Tanatsa. This was lovely. And see, I've convinced her. That means the next 20-something event, I'll be there.
Right.
I will be there.
Of course.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And leave a comment. Tell us, did you like this episode? What else would you want us to talk about? I'll see you in the next one.
Picture Hub is a fully fledged content creation studio based in Harare, Zimbabwe. At our core, we are storytellers with a focus on film production, photography, and voice recording. We believe that the essence of any organization, corporate brand, or individual is a well-curated story. Our passion lies in bringing these stories to life authentically with undeniable excellence. Our portfolio includes television commercials, web series, documentaries, podcasts, and voice recordings. For more information, visit our website www.picturehubzim.com or email info@picturehubzim.com for inquiries.